I was addicted to methamphetamine by the time I was 17 years old. Let's get into it. So when I was younger, you guys, I really struggled with like thinking that I was like the fattest person in the room. And honestly, looking back at school pictures and when I was in high school, I might have been like 7 to 10 pounds overweight. Like, I looked great. I wish I could go back to that Nicole and tell her how beautiful she was. But anyways, at a really young age, I started to be really critical of my physical appearance and my weight. A lot of this was because, and I'm not blaming my dad. My dad is an amazing man. He's a great father. He's a great provider. He taught me so many life lessons. But my dad was obsessed with his own physical appearance and his weight. My dad always lifted weights. He was a bodybuilder. He was always in the gym, and he was always talking about, you know, being overweight or worrying that he was overweight, because he never was. He always looked jacked, like muscles. And so as a young girl watching, you know, my dad talk about being overweight or struggling with his weight, it made me very critical of my own weight. And so by the time I was 17 years old, I had a complex. Like, basically I was so insecure. I thought that I was like 350 pounds and I was like 150. And so I talked my mom into taking me to the doctor and basically talked the doctor into prescribing me phentermine, which is an amphetamine. And so he would only give it to me for 30 days. I think at that time I might have been like 15 pounds overweight, if that. And when I say overweight, I mean like my height and weight for at that time when I was younger was like 130, and I might have been like 145. So the doctor gave me phentermine, and when I took phentermine, it literally made me feel like I could do anything. It made me feel like I was Superwoman. And so I was taking it and overtaking it. Well, I ran out of those and he wouldn't prescribe me anymore. So I had started hanging out with a group of friends that was smoking weed, drinking alcohol, and doing, you know, drugs. And so one day they offered me cocaine, and I tried it, and it was cool. I liked it, but it only lasted for like 5 minutes. And to me, that was like such a waste, you know? And I hadn't really heard a lot about meth. I knew that there was people's parents who like cooked meth, and there was like trailers that were like down dirt roads in the town that I lived that there were like meth cooks. But I wasn't like educated on it. I was hanging out with one of my friends, and his family was like Mexican. Like, they came over from Mexico, and he had meth, and he was smoking it, and he gave me a hit of it. I'll never forget the first time I hit the bowl. And it made me feel like my hair was growing out of my head. Like, it literally felt like there was like tinglies all over me. My hair was growing out of my head. My arm hairs were growing, everything. And it hit me so quickly. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's that feeling that I like. That's that focused, speedy, let's get stuff done, snap, snap, snap feeling that I like. And so I started doing it with him whenever I could. Then I started inquiring about how I could purchase my own methamphetamine. And by the time I was a senior in high school, I was purchasing methamphetamine on my own, 18 years old, working a full-time job, tweaking out of my mind. Yeah, buying dope.